Hello people, welcome to this video. Let's see together all the features you need to know to start using Apple GarageBand. Please leave us feedback to improve our video guides. GarageBand is a great software used to create, compose, and edit music with your Mac. When you open it, a dialog box opens with several sections listed on the left. If you are starting for the first time, it is very useful to check Learn to Play and Lesson Store to get tips and suggestions in composing music professionally. In this video, we will show you how to use the software itself, but to start composing professional tracks, you will have to get more practice and experience. Let's start with a new GarageBand project. To start with a new project, go to New Project. Here you can choose between several different project templates, specialized for different purposes, from electronic music to ringtones. Select Empty Project if you don't want to use any ready templates. Below you can use several project settings like the tempo in beats per minute or BPM, the time signature, and the input and output sources to use in audio input and audio output. If you don't know what the BPM and the time signature are, check out the links in this video description. Once you click on Choose, the new GarageBand project opens with its workspace. Before going on, let's understand better how GarageBand works. The GarageBand project is your whole music song, composed by several rows or tracks, each representing a single audio file or audio instrument that plays in time. Then, each track welcomes more regions, which are single audio patterns that play in a determined instant of time during your project. The whole structure of your project, with its tracks and regions, is fully described through the main timeline that can be played through the player buttons on top and the timer display above. Basically, you have three main kinds of tracks, as you can see when you open your project for the first time. The software instrument adds a track used to compose music with audio instruments via GarageBand. For example, you can create melodies with a piano or a guitar, defining each of their notes. Audio adds an audio track used to record any voice by using a microphone or any audio instrument connected to your Mac. Then you have the drummers. These are tracks used to create percussions and beats that give rhythm to your overall project song. The first time you open your new project, you have to choose either of these three in order to create the first track inside your project timeline. At this point, your new project opens. If you ever need help about functions and features inside GarageBand, enable the Quick Help through the second button in the top left corner. This opens a small dialog box that describes the button you are actually hovering over with your mouse. Let's now see each of these different tracks inside GarageBand. Software instruments are used to compose music, note by note, directly through GarageBand instead of using a real instrument. You can select and change the instrument to use by simply selecting the right track and then choosing the right instrument from the library panel on the left. If you don't see it, just click on the first button from the left in the top right corner. Remember that changing the instrument won't update the track name, so it's better to adjust its name by double-clicking on the track. Once the instrument is defined, you can start composing by opening the piano roll through the last button in the top left corner. Check the right notes by clicking on the piano roll. And type down the notes by holding Command down and clicking the timeline on the right. You can also move each note by clicking and dragging them in order to change the tone or their position in time. You can also click and drag the edges to change the duration of each note. To check their duration and time placement, always check the time display on top. Once you create your notes, a new region will be created inside the related track, showing a brief of all notes inside. So when you play your project, you will play exactly the notes added inside the region through the piano roll. You can also use the score interface to add your notes if you prefer. It can be quite useful to play continuously your sequence automatically in order to check how your melody is coming out. If you click and drag on the timeline bars, you will create a cycle range which forces the player to play over and over the part of the project that stays below it. You can enable and disable the cycle loop by clicking on the cycle button above. If you don't like your melody, you can delete any note or region by selecting and using the backspace key. Whereas, if you need to repeat a basic melody over and over, you can click and drag the edges of a region to loop it in time. If you click and drag the edges more at the bottom, you will extend the region over time without looping its content. If you want to make copies of the same region, just click and drag it while holding Alt down. Besides composing the notes for the software instrument track, you can also adjust the settings for the instrument itself. If you click on the third button in the top left corner, the Controls panel opens, which you can use to adjust the instrument tone and sound. Furthermore, under EQ, you can apply audio filters on different frequencies in order to adjust the sound output. Let's see the drummer tracks. You can add new tracks clicking on the plus button on top, selecting the kind of track. The drummer tracks are used to create beats and percussions with a combination of kicks, snares, or cymbals that are automatically set according to the settings of the editor panel at the bottom. In fact, differently from the software instrument tracks seen before, you don't have any piano roll, but an editor that allows you to choose the kind of percussions to use, the general style, and the kind of rhythm. Apart from this, you still have the controls, the EQ panel, and the library panel to change the percussions to use. The editor panel does not create regions with notes in the project timeline. It creates audio waveforms continuous in time and contained again inside regions. Percussions are played in order to create a region that can be looped with no problems. Even more, if you extend a region, the percussions will play differently in order to cover the new time duration. If you want to create a completely personalized percussion, you have to use a software instrument track with a drum kit instrument chosen from the library panel. Then, through its piano roll, you can play the different percussions by fixing different notes. There are also the audio tracks. These tracks welcome audio waveforms, so everything that must not be composed, such as audio files, ready to use for any recorded speech or music. To import any audio file, just click and drag it on your timeline directly. This will be contained inside an audio track through a unique region. You can adjust it and add effects on it by using the Controls panel and the EQ. If you need to record from your microphone or any external instrument, you have to create a new audio track inside the project and use the record button on the main bar on top. When you click on it, after a short countdown, you will start recording on your audio track from the actual placement of the playhead until you click again on the Record button. The recording will be collected as a continuous audio waveform inside a unique region. The recording will be made with the audio input device specified in the project preferences that you can check by going to GarageBand and then to Preferences. Inside Input Device. Also for audio tracks, you have the controls and the EQ. Beside each track, you have several useful options. Use the volume bar to adjust the track volume, or the pan knob to adjust balance between the left and the right stereo channels. Under the track name, you have two other buttons. The first one is used to mute the track. The second one is used to play the track solo with all other tracks muted. Let's see how to save and render your project. To save, just go to File and then to Save As. This will save your project file in order to save your progress and open it anytime by going to the Recent section when opening GarageBand. If you want to render your overall project as a unique audio file, go to Share and then to Export Song to Disk. Then decide the file format and quality, its name, and then the destination folder. More below, decide which part of your project timeline to export. If you have any cycle range active, only that which is under it will be rendered. Otherwise, the total length of your project will be decided by the last region that ends throughout the timeline. Then, just go to Export. Thanks for watching this video guide. Check out our channel for more amazing video tutorials for Mac and Windows.